for whatever reason on social media, everyone feels like their opinions matter. That's the part that irritates me a little bit. Yeah. Everyone feels like their opinions matter and their opinion is right. Like, you can make an opinion and it just needs to be yours. You don't have to force it on anyone else. It doesn't
That's yours, sis. You can keep that.
Right. We don't need to.
All right. So you guys, I want you to welcome Miss Brittany Cooper to Redefine Me, the podcast. Hey, Brittany.
Hello. Hi.
Right. All of our imaginary people.
Right.
But Brittany is a licensed clinical social worker, and she is the owner of Power of Choices. Not of one office, but two.
Got two. We got two right now.
I mean, you're so humble. You are so humble, okay? She's like,
oh, thank you.
It's some slight, some cute.
Just a little
just out here killing the game. No, but y'all, I went to middle school and high school with Brittany. So we grew up together literally. And so this is just like very nostalgic right now. Okay, seeing your face. I have not seen Brittany in a very long time. So I'm like, you look the same.
You too. Like, that's just beautiful. Like, we haven't changed.
Look at us, black don't crack. Okay.
Exactly. So when we get old, we're gonna be looking good.
Okay. But I had to have Brittany come on because excuse me. I had to have Brittany come on because this platform is all about creating safe spaces, especially for people who are in the process of rediscovery or healing. And for me, I have a personal connection with mental health. And I went through a little process of like, maybe I'll go back to school and become a social worker or become a therapist. And child, it didn't happen. But I'm so passionate about it because people's healing is just something that I believe that we all have areas in our lives that we need to heal. And I wanted to make sure that I came on here to do an episode about therapy, because I think especially in the African American community, therapy can kind of be looked at as taboo. And I think now it's getting a little better, but I know for me, my process in going to therapy and speaking to someone in my time where I needed some guidance, oh my gosh, it was life-changing. So, Brittany, how did you get into this field?
All right. So I probably knew I was always going to be a therapist. Kind of knew that already. Everyone likes talking to me. So even from like being little, like everybody likes talking to me.
That is true. We always had everybody's secrets when we were young.
Right. So, it just kind of worked out. But the interesting part is being a therapist, a social worker was like my number two. So I wanted to go to school for forensic science. So I wanted to do all that
doing that
crazy stuff because I like the criminals and all that, So like that was the number one thing I wanted to go to school for, and then things kind of changed. So instead of me going to like my first choice for college, I went to UConn, and UConn didn't necessarily have a forensic program, so they had psychology and sociology, and I was like, well, I guess we're going to do social work and talk to folks because that's what. But I do not regret that decision at all. It feels so good and it's natural. So I'm blessed to say that I'm one of the people who enjoy their job, enjoy what they do. So
I'm sure it's rewarding too to see the personal growth that people have.
Yes.
Does it ever get frustrating though?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I feel like I get so invested with my clients that I become their personal cheerleader. And I'm and get so connected that When they have their highs, I have the highs with them. When they have their lows, like I'm low with them. When they're
Yeah.
being stubborn, I'm like, come on now.
Listen,
Let's get this together because I'm rooting for you. What we doing? So yes, it does get
girl.
frustrating sometimes.
And so it's so interesting because sometimes just as people in general, we can take on people's stuff. Because I know one thing I learned in therapy that was like I said, it was life changing. I remember she told me, your issue is you're picking up people's bricks. So you have your bag of bricks. People come to your home or they come into your space with their bag of bricks and they're unloading their bag of bricks
And you
and you're
just
picking up
taking
their
them.
bricks. So
You
then
just
you
taking
leave
them.
feeling heavier and they leave feeling lighter.
Yep. Yep.
So for
Yep. Yep.
you, because you are the person. You are the person. So how do you create those boundaries so that
Oh
you're
man.
not picking up bricks?
That is a constant task that I have to do to kind of balance because I am absorbing everything that my clients have going on. So for me, the biggest outlet is at the end of the day, I talk about it. Like I just talk about my day
Yeah.
with either my mom or a friend or somebody, and just talk about my day, and just get it all out. Like no filter, no nothing. Like to the point where I can say like, this specific client without like giving details, like pissed me off today. Like, this,
Right.
this is what happened today, or I feel stuck and I don't know how to help this client. So I literally like talk about it. I write a lot if I can, it's just, and I also do good with like now I'm doing good with a balance in my schedule. So before I would used to be like available all the time to my clients. Now over a couple years, I've been able to create a schedule where like I cut myself off and I don't feel bad doing it. So
Good.
it's like, I see you guys Monday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like
I need more time for me.
like so, and again, so like even with that being said, like I go back and forth with it. Friday I might answer a couple calls a there, Saturday, but Sunday is completely my day. Like I don't pick it up, I don't do nothing. I just figured out there's like a do not disturb feature on my phone that I use for
Do not
specific
disturb
clients.
me.
Like I just cut it off so
You can
that
make it specific to the people.
yeah, I just figured that out. Like I
Hopefully your
literally
clients are watching this like, she got me on do not disturb.
But no. They know though, because I am very open and honest with my clients. Like I think, and that helps our relationship, that I'm very upfront with them to say, I'm here for you, but I need my time too if I'm gonna help you too. Like, so you gotta give me a little bit of a break too if we gonna work this out. Like, or it's not gonna work. And then I'm gonna be snapping at you, and then you like, come on.
That's something I was talking about on one of the previous episodes. I was talking about redefining rest and how like you need rest, because if I'm using all of my energy for you, child, we know how it is. It's just terrible. It is absolutely terrible. So, girl, I got my little notes.
Got it.
And it's real ghetto over here because my phone started dying and the extension cord is not working, but the plug is all the way over there. I was like, I just gotta plug it into this plug, but it's like it won't go far. So I'm like, okay.
It's all right. It's okay. I had to reposition myself. I'm like, I don't really got too much light in here. Let me find the right find the right spot.
This is a safe space, okay? This is a safe space.
We good, because I'm like, from here up, I'm presentable. Like on the bottom,
on. But anywho, so switching gears, I do want to know from your perspective, what are some of the main reasons that people seek therapy?
Man, so a list of it. A lot of times, if I think about like my current caseload of clients and stuff, someone to just listen to them. I get a lot of the phone calls and it's like, my life is a mess right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what direction I'm going in. So for some guidance, for some support, to help make sense of things, to know that they're not crazy and they're not alone. That's a big one. To kind of unpack a lot of the trauma that they've been through that most of the time we avoid until we realize it starts affecting us and we've been holding it in and we lashing out. So now I need to talk to somebody before I do something else crazy or something else that's like out of character for myself. Just to make sense of life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to ask this question because as I was saying before, it is taboo, especially sometimes in the Black community,
Right.
because now if you're going to therapy, you're crazy or
Right.
something, you have a mental illness or something of
Mm-hmm.
that nature. And so I'm happy that we're having this conversation because it's allowing people to see and hear, like,
Mm-hmm.
I need someone to talk to. I need someone to just help me make sense, because the time I went to therapy in my life, I had just went through a breakup with someone I was with for 5 years. And you know,
Right.
a breakup sometimes can feel like a death.
Right.
You feel like you die and be like, Lord,
Feel like you're dying and the world's
my
ending
heart.
and like yes.
The drama. But it's a
Right.
real thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to really, in that time in my life, I realized all of the things that was going on with me. Like, okay, how could you be in a relationship with this type of person? And how could you allow these things to happen and not be a victim? But it was a season where I really had to do some reflection.
Yes. Yep. You got to
Child.
focus on you because it's so easy for us to, point out, how everybody else is affecting us, how everything around us affects us. So therapy, really, you got to really look at yourself
Girl,
and
it's
be like,
that's hard.
it's like, oh shit, like, okay.
Yeah, that is really, really hard for people to do, because there's some stuff that you don't like. It's some ugly things.
Yeah.
But the process, it gave me so much grace with myself. One time she simply said, "You're human. It's okay." And I'm like, I am human. I
Right.
forgot I'm not a robot. You're right.
So those are, that's other reasons why people come to therapy too, to just, get validation that what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling is real. And it's not, it makes sense to me. It matters to me. It's okay, instead of everybody telling me, nah, you good. Like, don't worry about it. Ignore that. Like, you bugging. Like, no, like today I felt like shit and it's okay.
Exactly. Is it okay for me to feel this way? Okay.
Right. Yep.
So look, that's validation. I was thinking today, I was like, maybe I need to go back to therapy, because there is something that I'm having a hard time. I just need a map. Like, honestly, sometimes I just need a map.
Yep.
And a healthy way to figure some things out.
Right.
With COVID now, being a huge part of 2020, how has COVID affected a lot of your patients? Have you seen an influx in clients or a decline?
So I feel like COVID has continued to bring mental health to the forefront. It's making it more real for people. Because I feel like, pre-COVID, when we can do anything we want out and about, we can avoid a lot of stuff. Like, we can avoid what we're thinking. We can avoid people. We can table some stuff to, whenever. But like COVID is making people sit down and have to think about stuff they didn't want to think about, have to face things they didn't want to think about. So I think, COVID is, really, I feel like making mental health real across the board. Like, this is real. Like, mental health isn't just like something we talk about here and there. Like, it's real. Like, it's right up there along with everything else. Like, so I think that's the biggest thing that's happened with COVID. And because of that, I've seen an increase, in clients. I've seen an increase. I've also seen a little bit of a decrease, just because with COVID, it limited in person,
Okay.
which is huge. Like, that's a big part.
Because sometimes you need that face-to-face
Yes.
versus just being on the phone or Skype or something.
It's different. So I have a lot of clients who have adjusted and like, the telehealth, the online and on the phone, and it works for them because they have prioritized their mental health. So they know that they need this and they're going to do it, regardless of the way that it needs to be done. But I've had a couple clients fall off because they need that in person. There is something about in person meeting with someone and just unpacking all your stuff in that safe space this person that has created. That's just different. And I think so COVID, I think on one hand has, put mental health to the forefront, like, continue to do that. It should be there already, but it's continuing to do that and slowly doing it. But on the other hand, it's adding to barriers to treatment in terms of access to treatment, in terms of the way that we're going about treatment, because sometimes, coming to therapy is the safe space for someone.
Yeah.
So sometimes people, and I have a couple clients who will have their sessions with me while they're in the car, while they're taking the walk, while they're doing something, because they can't technically say how they truly feel in the household that they're in.
I had a friend of mine and she was like, I want to go to therapy. She's like, but I can't stand to be in my house while I'm doing it because I don't want to release that energy into my home because I know there's a lot of things I don't really got to let out. Yes. And I was like, oh, girl, I'm different. I was like, girl, come on. Because my therapist at the time, she was great because she would come to you. Mm-hmm. And so she would come. We'd be sitting on the couch like old friends. I'm like, yeah, girl, good.
Let me tell you what happened, right?
Right. Yeah. But you don't think about stuff. I didn't think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that is, I think, again, it's two sides of it. So I've seen a couple clients kind of struggle with that, and we have to get creative with how we do the session or the time or day we do the session. So like my boundaries, I've set during COVID have kind of, changed because I want to be flexible and I still want to be a support. And, sometimes a client, we can't have a session till like 8 p.m. because everybody and their mama in the house and like, people ain't going to work there. Or sometimes we got to do it 7 a.m. Yeah. Or like, I have plenty of sessions with people that are in their car because they need a space where they can literally not feel judged and literally say whatever it is on their mind. So the fact that, we're going through COVID and we're open right now and could potentially like shut back down causes some issues because even with the office open, I'm like, my office is open limited right now, but I have those clients that need to come in and they're like, I've been missing this space. Like I needed to come sit on this couch and come like, and sometimes too, it's like, I have clients that come in and like, I can actually think for once. It's so quiet. Like I can think and it's just my thoughts. Yeah. Like I needed this. So it's interesting.
It is because you and I were talking. I'm like, I didn't even think of about stuff like that. You do realize with COVID that again, you're forced to be in this space with people who you don't always spend that much time with.
Yes,
but people are like the kids are home. Mm-hmm. If you live with, you have a husband or a wife, they home. Yeah. If you live with your parents, they home. Everybody's home.
If you live in a 3-family house and grandma's downstairs and cousins upstairs and like everybody's home
at the house, okay?
Right. The dogs is there, like,
the dogs, the cats, the fish, everybody.
Right. So now, you're confined to this space of, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the analogy when it comes to social media social media. What? Girl, I don't even know where that came from.
That's okay.
I need a nap or something. I need to eat some dinner. That's what I need. I love the analogy when it comes to therapy. It's like your mental health is just as important as any other part of your body. If you have a broken arm, you're going to go to the doctor. You're going to do whatever you need to do to make sure that your arm gets the proper care so that it can work again. You're going to go to rehab. You're going to do all this stuff because you want your arm to work right. And nobody's going to judge you about that. But when it comes to your mental health, a lot of times people don't see it that way.
Right. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people don't realize it until like it really affects them in a way, but your mental health is going to affect your physical as well and your health as well. So when you're holding stuff in and not getting stuff out, and then you realize for the last week you done had a headache every day, or you done barely ate, or you ain't sleeping, or something in your body's hurting, or you experience panic attacks, you losing weight, you're gaining weight, that's all connected.
Wow.
It's connected. So as much as you can, work on your physical health, if your mind not right, you're still not gonna see the goals that you want to see. Like, so it's all connected. So I think that's an area that people struggle in with, prioritizing mental health.
Yeah.
Like that's and it's unfortunate. It's like you said, we put in so much effort to do all these other things, but our mind is something that we just, I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna work it out. Oh, I had
And
this
y'all are
conversation.
hearing this from the professional, okay? She is the professional. So she is giving y'all the real, okay? Not just the real, but the real. So I created this kind of like this map.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at my notes, y'all. I'm looking
Go
at
ahead.
And it's so interesting because there's so many of us who are walking around with some type of trauma. So not even saying mental health issue, like a mental illness, but just, for instance, a trauma. And the trauma doesn't have to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, a trauma doesn't have to be, because I'm talking like I'm the professional.
Go ahead, girl. I'm following you.
Let me correct you. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But a trauma doesn't necessarily have to be that you experienced, a death, or you saw like a murder, or you were, sexually assaulted or something like that. I think sometimes we connect trauma with this huge
event, this big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, not realizing that your trauma may be your mom not being there, and she had to work a lot, so you had to raise your little sister or something. Or maybe your trauma was, a popular one is your father not being in your life, or whatever the case may be. What are some, and now I'm gonna talk about my map, but this is okay. What are some different examples of traumas that that you could give us and the listeners? Because like we were saying, sometimes trauma isn't that big event you see on TV.
So, the typical ones, like you said, you talk about the physical abuse, you talk about the sexual abuse, you talk about, witnessing a violent crime. But like you said, it could be, the absence of a parent, like whether it's the mother or a father. It could be the presence of a parent in your life who was struggling themselves with a mental disorder or with substance abuse, and you had to deal with that. It can be, just trauma of dealing with, sometimes patterns of generational health. And what I mean by that is, a family that's stricken with, a lot of people with different, health concerns. So, grandma, auntie got breast cancer, and then mama got diabetes, and then such and such has this, so things like that, generational patterns of dealing with wealth and in terms of like poverty, and just going through that cycle of, not having, your basic needs and things like that. So, everybody's trauma is completely different. You could have experienced a major car accident, a house fire, been homeless. Like, everybody's trauma is different. So your trauma, everyone's individual trauma is based on, how they, react, how they've adapted. And most of the time we adapt in a negative way to it. And that can mean we avoid certain things. That can mean we've normalized things. Like, in our community, death is normalized, and that's not okay. Like,
can we talk about the things that have been normalized in our community that is not normal?
So death is a big one, especially like that's not okay. That at the age of 30, you can say you can count on your hand 10 plus, 15 plus people that you've grown up with that are already dead and haven't reached the age of 21 or 25 or 30. Like, not okay. Like, not okay. I mean, even if I think about the health side, like, I could think about my family personally, and it's like diabetes runs through our family.
Yeah.
Not necessarily okay. Like,
Right. How do we
like,
stop this cycle?
right. Not necessarily okay here.
Yeah.
Substance use, like, is huge. Like, how many of us can say we got that family member that we know been struggling all their life with, one of them things, and we just shrug it off. And if somebody else struggles with it, we just, it just like, those things are not okay. Like,
about like the bloodline or like generational curses, like the things that just kind of go down the list. And so it's like realizing, and I love that your business is called Power of Choices, because literally you have the power to choose to change those, to break those cycles.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the story behind kind of like the name for Me Too is kind of exactly what you said. Like, in life, we're dealt with, any and every scenario. Any and every scenario it can come with, whether you grow up in a 2-parent home or not, whether we were one of these kids that was gone to a choice school out of our district, to get a better education or not. Like, we're all dealt with a card of, scenarios in our life. So we got to choose. Like, I think as you grow up as a child, there's a lot of decisions that you can't make, but the moment that you become aware of what's going on, and I feel like the older that you get and you take control of your life, you got a choice now. So it's like, for me, if I think about it too, you think about different things. Like, okay, so, I grew up in a family and everybody had kids young. Everybody had kids either when they was high school, right out of high school. I could follow the path if I want to. Or I can make a choice that's not what I want to do right now. Like, that's not, what I want to do right now.
And there's ways around that.
Right. And it's not to say that, you speak negatively or bad about your family members or the people around you, but you're making a conscious choice. Like, there's a choice, there's a lot of clients that come in who, grew up on, Section 8 with food stamps, different things like that. And they're familiar with it. And it's like, you don't have to do the same thing. Like, you can make a choice. Like, you can do things differently. You don't have to just accept what was given to you. So I feel like when people realize that, like, that's very powerful. And at that point, you just go ahead and make your different choices. Go ahead. And I tell people too, like, your choices change day to day. You can make one choice today, and in a couple months you realize that don't work for you no more. So let's switch it up. Let's make another choice. Like, I'm all
it's like, I can really, and I think that's the amazing thing. Because again, like you were saying, one of the biggest reasons people even come to therapy is just to hear validation. Like, it's okay for me to pivot. It's okay for me to do something differently. Like, for me, my word of the like past 2 months have been grace. Like, my father-in-law passed away, and it just kind of spiraled everything kind of spiraled out of its norm, because we had to go back and forth to New Jersey and and then working. So everything was kind of crazy. And if you've listened to our listeners, if you've listened to other podcasts, other episodes, and you've heard me talk about this, but it's a huge thing for me to have given myself grace. Like, because literally I would get to a place of beating myself up because I'm not sticking to the schedule, or I'm not posting at this time, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be because I have, but it's like, no, girl, it's okay.
Right. So that's one of the things too, is like, I think when people start to come to therapy, they have their reasons why they're hesitant to come. And then when they finally come, it's like, I'm ready to go all in, or I'm still hesitant because, I'm not ready to fully face everything. I'm not sure, the amount of effort and work I have to put into it. Usually most people avoid it because of that too. Like, the amount of work I'm gonna have to put in to make these different decisions, that seems like a lot, and I ain't ready to, and I'd rather,
because it is like Child, once you get to
is.
that certain point, it's like, I remember one time I was so mad at myself. I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you even do this? Like, really, sis? But it was a turning point because I was like, it was powerful for me to now be able to take the responsibility.
Yep.
It's like, I can take the responsibility. So, child.
Yep. Definitely. So it's like once you're able to take that responsibility, you're able to make a choice that works for you. Because a lot of times too, I will have clients come in and it's like, this is their opportunity to think for themselves. Like everything my mama and my grandma, and my uncle, and everybody taught me is cool and all. But when you become an adult,
yeah, it's like you, that's on you.
Right. You have to live your life now.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people struggle with that because we were raised in a specific way. So then when you start to think outside of that, it's like you start to question yourself. Am I wrong? Am I doing the wrong thing? Because I'm thinking different. And it's like, no, it's okay. Like, it's okay to think differently. It's okay if we, have setbacks too. Because I think a lot of people kind of feel like too, once you start therapy, like you're just gonna coast on by and everything be fine. Like, no. Like, like therapy is probably when you do it, when you fully go into it, is a shit show first before you can cruise. And then even when you cruise, you're gonna have setbacks, but the things that you've learned through the process will help you, maneuver those and get over those humps better than what you did before. So it's not like, everything's gonna be fixed. Like, no, life happens.
Saying that because I remember one time, I remember it vividly. I was like walking up the stairs and I was like, oh, I feel better. I must be fine. Like, like I'm healed. I'm cured. I'm fixed.
I don't need to go to therapy no more, right? Like, I'm good.
And then like 2 days later, I was like, what is wrong with me? And that's when my therapist, she was like, you're human. You to have a moment. Like, I wasn't giving myself the time I needed to heal, realizing that it doesn't happen overnight.
Well, no. So, the way that I look at therapy is like a journey, right? Life is a journey for us. We're going to have ups, we're going to have downs. Like my life, I consider it have been like this crazy ass roller coaster. And on that ride, like, some things are going to be better. Some things are going to be horrible. Some things are just going to be okay. So for me and my role, like I like to be a part of that journey because you need the support at every point, every moment. And there's nothing happening. We need to talk about why things are going so good right now and why and how we can move off that momentum because nothing's happening. Because a lot of times people don't know how to deal with, nothing, with not having chaos, with not having drama that you can potentially self-sabotage and make an issue.
Girl, we were watching Grey's Anatomy and she said a line and she was like, I don't know how to, she was like, it's foreign to her to have relationships that are easy and fun or something like that.
Yep.
And we were just like, we had a whole conversation. We're like, that's really, really true. Like people really do. It is foreign to them when things are going right. It's like, because
we feel like right. I feel like because life hits us in so many directions and like, even as, minorities, we have other obstacles on top of that we navigate in like a crisis management, mode all the time, survival mode all the time. So that when we get to the level of where we're just like coasting, it's like, oh shit, like, what's this? Like, what do I do with this? Like I had a client the other day too, like she had been through so much and she's at a point where, she's working and, has her own place and has a car. And she's like, this shit feel weird. Like, and I'm like,
something's gonna happen.
Right. And she's like, and I'm like, oh, no. Let's not self-sabotage. Like, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Not the chaos when you was coming in here 2 and 3 times a week and crying and acting all crazy. And, like, that's not what it's supposed to be. So it's interesting. It's this journey, it's this roller coaster, and you have to be committed to it. And also knowing when you're committed to it, like it's okay if you have setbacks. A setback is going to happen. Always. Like it's going to happen. It happens with me. It's going to happen. Like
it's guaranteed.
Yep.
It's so funny because I'm like, forget my little map. Where's my map? My map is just like, really, sis? No. Because like you said, you want
I'm
there
sure
to
your
be,
mat was fine.
it was good in the context, but after listening to this conversation, I'm like, it was good, but it was because
All right.
it's like I feel like with mental health, I'm not gonna say that there's not an end, but it's kind of like there isn't. Like you have times where you're good, and then but you said life happens.
Yep.
You might be good for a while, but then
Mm-hmm.
something else happens, and it's like, well, I just need a checkup. You
Yep.
know, you need to have a
Mm-hmm.
checkup because you might not get sick or have to go to surgery or whatever, but it's good to go to the doctor once a year to make sure that everything is going well with your body. And
Right.
if there's not, you catch it and you do what you got to do and you keep moving forward. So my little map, child.
So if I had to like identify like some sort of end into your mental health journey, it would be when you get to the place when you're hitting these setbacks and these roadblocks, you're able to maneuver them to where they don't, disrupt everything you had going on. So
That's
it's like when we
amazing.
start in the beginning, it's like, this person pissed me off, I spazzed out, I pulled up, I did some wild stuff, like,
I pulled up,
and as you go
pulled
through the
up, popped
process,
out.
right, literally, like, banged on his mama door, like, just did some wild stuff, right? So as you go through, healing yourself in this process, something that might have like pissed you off in 2 seconds doesn't even phase you. Something that might have caused you to, pull up and hop out before, you don't even respond to that, or you respond in a way where, I'm all set with that. Like, I don't want to deal with that. You're able to cut off, negative and toxic relationships faster than you used to.
Yeah.
Like, you're able to, if you have a bad day, still get the task you need done throughout the day versus when you had a bad day before, everything got shut down. So like those would be some of the end games of your mental health, journey, in terms of like you maneuver better. You maneuver in a greater way. Like, you have this peace, you have this grace, you have this, like, today I'm having a bad day, but, I'm not going to let it linger for a week or two or more. Like, I'm having a bad day today, but tomorrow is a whole new day and I'm going to get up and do what I got to do. Like, so I think those are, those goals, those endpoints that happen where you can sit back and reflect and say, damn, I changed, I grown. Like, there's a lot of growth that done happened for me over the last, however long. And everyone's journey, the time frame it varies. And I also tell people, don't put a time frame on your mental health. We grow, we change regularly. Like, how I feel today, I might not feel like that in a couple months. Like, it can be like you change. You might not feel like that tomorrow. Like, you constantly grow and evolve. So you can't put a time limit on things. Like, you just can't do that. So,
y'all, I can literally talk to you about this all day. I can literally talk to you about it all day because it's just so many ins and outs of everything. Like, seriously. So, but I'm not going to talk to you for 5 hours, Brittany. Brittany will be like, sis,
I can sit here and talk to you. I can sit here and talk to you for 5 hours. Like, I can have the conversations. So.
Look, if we have to, we'll just keep it going and make a part 1 and a part 2. Because another thing that I'm gonna get your words, sis. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna touch on two more things.
Okay.
I want to talk about depression and anxiety because sometimes, and I don't want to seem insensitive when I say this, but if I'm just looking at social media, it seems like everybody has depression and anxiety all of a sudden. Yep. And I'm like, do you really have depression and anxiety, or are you just saying that, not realizing that, I don't know, like, do you feel like, as a therapist, do you feel like it's something that's kind of being thrown around, or do you see like there's a huge amount of people who are suffering from depression and anxiety?
So I'm gonna be blunt because that's just me, and
It's a safe
you,
space.
and you know that. So at this point, anything could be a trend. Okay, anything could
Thank
be a
you. I feel
trend,
like it's low key a trend.
especially when you wrap in social media. Anything can be a trend. I feel like everyone gets anxious in their life.
Yes.
Something makes you anxious, something makes you uneasy.
Yeah.
Fine. Everyone has those experiences. I think that is different from you actually having anxiety. I
Yeah.
think, moments that day to day, I just feel sad and I'm not feeling it is different from someone who actually suffers from depression.
Mhm.
So, my, feedback that I give to people is like, if you feel like, something is going on and you're struggling, talk to a professional so that they can give you that education around it and can help you figure out what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will just throw like, I have anxiety and depression out there. And it's like, well, what are you doing about it? Because people who actually have anxiety and depression are doing stuff about it, are trying
Yeah.
to do stuff about it, are trying to understand, what may be the triggers and causes of that so that, they can alleviate that stress that caused.
And I find
Right.
that the people that and I can't speak for everybody, but I've
Right.
had people that I know who have dealt with depression or anxiety. They're not
Mhm.
just out here like, I have depression, I have anxiety,
Mhm.
because
And
they
it's not
understand.
right. And it's not because they are ashamed of having it. It's just not something that they need to parade around saying, this is going on.
Yeah.
So I think, the social media era that we're in has made any and everything become a trend. But
Yeah.
if someone truly feels for themselves that they're off and something isn't right, just talk to a professional.
Yeah.
Talk to a professional to figure out what's actually going on.
What
Because if you're just gonna say it, get the help for it because
yeah.
it can get worse.
And that's what I was gonna say. What are some ways to identify if you may have depression or you may have anxiety? Like, what are some different symptoms that you might have or you might start to
So
notice?
So the biggest thing I tell for people when it comes to anxiety or depression or any other like mental diagnosis that they feel that they have, like it first starts with you knowing that something's not right within you, right? So you're noticing that something is not right. And then from there, it's kind of like a constant, persistent like deterioration of yourself, right? So
Okay.
it's not that like I just had a bad day today and then like everything's good. I'm having a bad day. I'm having multiple bad days. Like I'm not getting tasks and doing things that I would normally do, like done. Like, I can't concentrate. I can't sleep. Like, and that's more of like the depression side to where like they're starting to isolate too, or, becoming very irritable in terms of everything is like pissing me off and I'm snapping at people. Even the anxiety side of it too is like I always tell people to pay attention to your physical part because anxiety will definitely manifest in a physical way, to where people are having these anxiety attacks. Like you walk into a room somewhere or interacting with people and your heart is racing, your sweaty palms, like you starting to sweat, like you get real fidgety, like just not right. So this is like a progression of things that's happening, and then it affects like your everything else you got going around you. So it's starting to affect you at work, it's starting to affect you at home, like it's starting to like other people are starting to notice it, like something's really going on there. If you are struggling to mask it like you would usually do,
Yeah.
something's really going on there. I mean, I know for me, the first time I kind of experienced, an episode of depression was, when I had my job before I started my private practice. I just wasn't happy. I
Yeah.
wasn't happy. It's to the point where my mom was like, something wrong with you. Like,
Look, mama's gonna know.
and she was like, this not
Especially
my
with
baby
you
girl.
now. She gonna
Right.
know.
Literally, she was like, I know you, you my feisty one, you're a firecracker, but something not right. Like you just not happy. Like you seem miserable right now. Like what's
Yeah.
going on here? And I'm like, all right, we need to check this. You need to figure out what I got going on here because this is not like you. So I think, like I said, there's a difference between, something just giving you, making you feel anxious, making you feel uneasy in the moment, and it's gone. This is like a constant thing that you're going through. It's a difference from like, today I just had a bad day versus every day I'm waking up in this mood and having this bad day, and the thoughts come in and things like that. So, I mean, again, I think we have things that make us anxious and things that make us sad, but that's different from actually struggling with anxiety or depression or another disorder. So I feel like when people are questioning that, the best thing you can do is seek a professional and kind of talk through it and figure it out. Because you can experience those things, around different situations that you're dealing with too. I mean, right now, like, it's a thing and people don't realize that, but seasonal depression is real. And it strikes right now during holiday season. It is a monster right now.
Oh, wow.
Because, this is the time that, people are gathering with families, and everybody's family ain't peachy perfect. Everybody's family ain't,
Some people are probably very happy that the gatherings need to be smaller this year.
But even with that, so you have multiple sides. People are happy that the gatherings are smalling, and some people, need the gatherings and can't get them. Like, and even if you have the gatherings, it might be specific individuals in the gathering that trigger you too. Or it might be like, I look forward to seeing my family, but then when I go, I'm like, this is why I don't come around, because
you're a trigger.
Right. It's also for the people who yearn for things that they, don't have. So of course, we have, Thanksgiving, then Christmas, then New Year's. These are big family oriented holidays. So a lot of people struggle who don't have that too, like, and who are looking for that. And it's just not working out yet. So this is a time. I mean, it's also because people don't realize, just the environment itself affects us. So the fact that, it's darker earlier, it's cold, like, we ain't getting too much daylight or sunlight, affects your mood. Like, all of that affects, our mood and how we're feeling. And, so if you question it, just go talk to somebody. Go just ask some questions.
Just figure it out.
Yeah, just don't say this is what I got going and then don't do nothing with it. Because again, if you're truly experiencing that, ignoring it is not the best way to go.
Wow. This is so enlightening. It's so enlightening. Even when I'm saying stuff and I'm like, girl, see, now you gotta be more cautious with it. Because that's not everybody's reality, know? It's so interesting. You have such a cool job.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy it. It's never a dull moment. I love it. Like, sometimes sometimes I have more stressful days than others, but I wouldn't trade it. Wouldn't.
Amazing. I love it. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
So, I guess like it's not my final question, but with a different definition, my platform, I'm really focusing on just creating safe spaces, especially for women, again, who are in seasons of healing or rediscovery. How important is having a safe space for your mental health?
I think just saying it's important is like an understatement. I think it's that huge that you need a space to unpack everything that's going on in your head. Yeah. We have stuff going on in our head all day long, every day, that like we talked about, that comes from other people, that comes from ourselves. Like, our brains just kind of go. And in that, depending on where you are in your life and what you're struggling with, that can go real bad or it can be real good. Like, so it's important to just have a space where you can, unapologetically just say how you feel. So it's like, one of the things I always think about is like, for whatever reason on social media, everyone feels like their opinions matter. That's the part that irritates me a little bit. Everyone feels like their opinions matter and their opinion is right. Like, you can make an opinion and it just needs to be yours. You don't have to force it on anyone else. It doesn't like it. That's
yours, sis. You can keep that.
Right. We don't need to argue and go back and forth with everybody else. Like, we need that safe space. so that again it validates, because I've always felt this way. Like if you don't validate your own feelings and emotions, nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
Why would someone else do that if you're not even confident in that? So that's the importance of the space too, for you to say like, I disagree with this, or I
Yeah.
feel this way, and it's okay. Like you
Yeah.
can feel that way. It's like people forget that you can agree to disagree and it's fine. Like
Yeah.
it's fine. Like, sis, that's how you feel? Cool. Okay.
And being able to say that without it being a great debate. Like, it's
Right.
okay if that's how you feel, but it's also okay if this is
How
how
I
I feel.
feel.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So the space is so important, because I feel like, social media has um made our, society to the point that, everybody's nitpicking every little thing. And it's like a lot of this shit don't need to be nitpicked. Like a lot of this stuff don't even need to be a conversation. Like
Girl, I
doesn't
hate
need to be a conversation.
and I feel like I need to go to therapy just because of social media. Like having a business that requires like I hate it so much because then you start comparing yourself to what other people are doing
Mm-hmm.
and what you have and what they have, what you don't have, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's too much. And then you look at where you are and you
Yep.
look at someone's highlight reel of their life
Mm-hmm.
and it's just I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in this place now where I'm like, I have to really sit down and map out some hard boundaries when it comes to social media
Yes.
because it's too much.
Yep.
It's too
It is.
much.
I hate social media. If it wasn't for my business, I wouldn't have social
Yeah,
media.
that's how I feel. Like sometimes
Can't.
I'm like, maybe I just take a break, but it's like, no, you're gonna break the momentum. Like you gotta keep going. But it's like I
Right.
really I
Girl, I don't like it either. It's okay. I don't like it either. I just I don't like
and then
it.
I know for you because you see the side that people don't see. Like this is driving
Mm-hmm.
you crazy. Like it's
Yes.
driving you crazy, and you don't even realize that it is.
Right. Right. It's driving you crazy. It's driving me crazy. Like it's just
It's driving everybody crazy.
everybody crazy, and I don't got time for it. So back to your question, like it's again, important is an understatement. Like the space is needed.
Yeah.
Like it's a necessity. Like
So let me ask you this: when it comes to finding that safe space, because of course, therapy for some people is their safe space.
yeah.
But say you don't necessarily need to go to therapy, but you still need that safe space. Can you
Mm-hmm.
kind of give us some examples of what a safe space could look like for someone in their home, in their,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, wherever they are?
So I feel like a safe space has to be somewhere you can disconnect and feel
Mhm.
comfortable with disconnecting.
Look, I'm
So
about to take some notes, y'all. A place
so
where you can disconnect.
that's the actually, like, that's the biggest thing about it. You have to be able to disconnect, because when you're able to disconnect from everyone else, you can truly be yourself and
Mm,
truly feel the what you need to feel, debate with yourself, go back and forth with yourself. Like you can be like genuinely just you and
yeah,
not feel the pressures of conforming to one way or another. So you can make that space anywhere. Like,
yeah.
so for me, realistically, my safe space is my house. And it's like, as I've gotten older, it's like I value it so much more, to the point where, like, I can be a social person, but I don't
Yeah.
want everybody in my house. Like, I don't want everybody and their energies
Little
in my
spirits
house.
over here in my house.
like,
We
like,
good over here.
because this is safe for me. This feels good for me. I control the atmosphere of that. So I think, again, you can make your safe space anywhere, like in terms of whether it's a room in your house, whether it's a corner, whether it's, disconnecting for an hour and you just go, like, I sit in my car regularly. I don't know why I do it, but I get home and I just sit in the car. Like,
And we're in the process of buying a house now, and I'm like, I can't wait to have a garage again. I can just pull in. This is the best feeling to pull into the garage and you just
just
sit in
sit
there.
there.
You've been there for an
Just sit there.
hour.
Yeah, like it's
Doing nothing.
something so relaxing and like unloading that you just do that. Like I can't wait to get a house because I miss having a backyard.
Yeah,
Like I'm gonna have this whole little oasis. I like being outside and just,
listen.
so you can create your safe space anywhere. I think the thing people need to realize is you have to be able to disconnect. and then also putting your boundaries around that so that, you know, other people know this is your safe space too. Like if you don't protect that space, no one else is going to do that either. So you have to be, you know, strong with that, like whatever that may be. Like, and safe space can also mean not just physical, but like giving your time to write and have a journal. That's your safe space to just put whatever you want to put in that journal. Giving your time to go to the gym and work out. People who are actively work out and do that. That's a safe space because you're focused on you and focused on your, you know, the way you want to scope and build your body, whatever goals that you have, that is focused on you, and you're not distracted by like anybody else. Like, you know, I love the bathroom too. Let me get in the bathroom.
I was just about to say the bathroom.
Showers. I will be in the shower forever.
I remember, were we in Miss Robison's class together?
Yes.
So I don't know if you remember this project, but she had us do a project where it was like the favorite room in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the bathroom. Everybody's like, why the bathroom? I was like, because when I go in the bathroom, no one can just bust in on you in the bathroom. The door is closed. If I'm in the bathroom, nobody's about to come in here. And then you get to release. You get to clean your body. Like, it's just the best place.
It is. It's beautiful.
So I already was doing when I was in the 6th grade. Come on, wisdom.
Yes. So literally, it's what your safe space is, whatever, you know, feels true to you to be, you know, to be completely you. And like, again, so it can be a physical space. It could be a journal. It could be, you know, an hour you set a time where you just don't communicate with anybody. And what you do in that time could literally be just watching TV. Like literally, like whatever it is that you want to do, that's your safe space because you're not allowing anybody else to, you know, interfere and mess with it. So I think people have to do a better job with creating that and being consistent with it. So even if it's like, you know, I have one client every Sunday, she goes up and gets herself some coffee and goes and takes a walk. And she does it every Sunday. When she doesn't do it, she be off for the week. Like, it's like, and she says, I leave my phone in my car and I just go walk and I come back. Like, you know, and I just do that, you know. So I think everybody's safe space is different, but it's something, again, like if I had to, you know, try to define how you do it, it's, you know, a way that you just disconnect from everybody and just be totally enmeshed in you.
I took some notes. You can't see it because the light is too bright, but that's what I was doing. I wasn't texting, babe. I was taking notes because I want to make sure to get this information out to the people.
You have to be totally enmeshed in you and what you have going on. So even if you like, I want to start reading more. Like I really do like reading books. I've got a couple I bought that is lined up ready for me to go. Like I get lost in books when I read them. Like that's a safe space. You're not thinking about everything that went wrong, everything that's on your plate, everything that you got to deal with tomorrow. That's your shit plus mama stuff plus your significant other stuff plus like you're not worried about any of that. Like, so that's the safe space.
This is so great, y'all. I'm so proud of you, girl.
Oh, thank you.
Brittany was always smart. Like she was always the smart. She was always in all the smart classes.
Don't start.
But she was really cool. So it was like, it's cool to be smart. Like I could still be cool and smart.
Yes.
So I'm so proud of you because I'm like, oh my gosh, you're really out here killing the game, helping to change lives. It's so amazing.
Lord, cut it out, Miss Songbird over there. Okay.
Whatever, okay.
Songbird. Don't let Jessica fool y'all. She got a voice over there. Okay. Like we used to make her sing all the time. Jessica, sing that.
All these rules, okay? Listen, these are
the I think the last song I remember like asking you to sing was like, what was it? Beyonce, some Redemption or some something. I need you to sing. Yeah, like just sing it. We just want to hear you sing it. You're like, no, I'm not. I'm like, yeah. Just sing that part.
Ooh, y'all can just go back to the top of the episode and listen to the theme song, and that's all the singing you need because it is me. It is me singing the theme song. But no, the final question I have for you. Because like I said, I will talk to you for 5 hours. But this has been like so much great information. Like it really has been. But my last question is, I'm gonna read it because it's long.
Okay.
I get it. I believe that when I wrote it, it must have been really good. So
Okay.
my
Go for
final question is,
it.
what is the first step to finding a therapist, and what are the options? Well, this is multiple questions. And what
Mhm.
are the options for people who may or may not have health insurance, or maybe do have health insurance, but it doesn't cover therapy?
Got it.
That was, I could break down.
No, I got you. So first step with just finding a therapist, you can Google, okay? You can Google a therapist and things pop up. You can Google therapy for Black girls, therapy for Black men. You got directories, Psychology Today. There's multiple directories where you can find therapists. You can call your insurance company and they will give you a list of therapists that are, are connected and will take your insurance. Word of mouth is a big one too. So you have multiple options of finding a therapist. You just got to do the search. Just like most of the time when I've had clients find me is because they said they Googled Black therapists, and that's how they found me. So, so you Google that, you find that, you go to the directories. I've had people reach out from insurance companies. I've had a lot of my business grow because of word of mouth as well. Like such and such told me they come see you, and I'm trying to see if you have, availability. So it's just starting the conversation. It's just looking. And then from there, you go through, you read profiles. What I feel like people don't realize is interview your therapist. This is someone that has your life, in a sense, in their hands. You need to be comfortable with them. You need to be okay with them. Call and ask questions. Call them and ask questions. Have you dealt with, this type of situation before? What's your response to this? How do you feel like working with, Black women or Black men? Ask questions, interview your therapist. And with that being said, too, understand that you might go through a couple till you find the right one, because we just don't connect with everyone. And I can remember the first time I was like fired by a client. I was so heartbroken because I'm like, why she don't like me? Like, I don't understand.
Right. What is this rejection? I am the best. What is wrong with
I
you?
don't get it. Like, that don't make no sense. But reality is, like, you don't connect with everyone. You're not going to connect with everyone. So it's okay if you go through, one or two or three therapists till you find your right one. If you're going past that, like, we might need to revisit what you're looking for and what you're doing, because it's like you're being a little extra sometimes. But interview your therapist. So again, you're gonna Google, you're gonna look on directories, you're gonna call your insurance companies, you're gonna ask word of mouth. Like, there's multiple ways that you'll get connected with names. Once you get a couple names or whatever, do your research. Call. Most therapists will do a 15-minute phone conversation, 30-minute phone conversation. Ask them questions. I'm always like, talk to the therapist, see how they respond to you, to see if you like that, vibe or not. See it, try them out. You might go to them and they sounded great on the phone, and you go in person and you really not feeling it. It's okay. Find another one. Go to another one, because this is a part of prioritizing your mental health. Like, the same way you wouldn't just go to anybody to get your hair cut, your hair colored, to do your lashes, to get your toes done. Like,
because listen, how specific are we? Like,
right. Like, and that goes for females and that goes for guys too. Like, y'all don't go to anybody to cut y'all hair. Like, so the same, effort and, the same effort you put into that, you got to put it into your mental health. You have to go through that. So when it comes to, like, paying for it. So again, if you call your insurance company, they'll give you a list of people who already take that insurance. But if you find a therapist that you really like that does not take your insurance, most therapists will do like a sliding scale where you'll be a cash client. Okay. So ask about that. So they'll work with you. Most will work with you to say, I don't take this insurance, but, here's what we can work out. Let's try to make it work. So that's something that we offer too at Power Choices, the sliding scale, because we might not take your insurance. So, but we still want to work with you and we still want to help you and you feel connected. So realistically, let's talk a little bit about finances and figure it out. I hate the fact that, people feel that, therapy might cost too much. And
Yeah.
that irks my nerves a lot just because I'm like, well, you just did A, B, and C, and you wasn't worried about how much that costs. And A, B, and C cause you to be a shit show in your head, but you don't want to figure it out. Like, so, like again, I think that's another thing that, is
Oh my God. I can't.
so let's be honest. But prioritize the mental health. The same amount you could pay to do everything else, you can pay to get your mind right and be in a better place. Because
Yeah.
some of the times the expenses that we're having, we shouldn't be doing anyway. Okay. And therapy can help us make better decisions financially as well.
Oh
So,
my gosh, y'all.
you
You
know,
are taking me out of here. Okay.
I'm just saying.
I
I'm just
love it.
saying.
I said, girl, I was texting her before we started. I was like, girl, just be yourself. She's like, oh, you already know I'm gonna be myself. We don't gotta worry about that.
So again, Googling directories, ask questions, interview your therapist. Pay attention to how they respond to you. Pay attention to, their response time for you. If their schedule aligns with yours in terms of flexibility and what they can do, like this person you need to put the effort into because this person is going to be your person. Like this is your go-to when you need a peace of mind, in a sense, when you need to understand things. A lot of things that we talked about in the beginning in terms of reasons that you went. So you want to feel comfortable. And, in the beginning, I think people fail to realize too, even if you feel comfortable with this person in the beginning, doesn't mean you're going to automatically like just open up to them.
Yeah.
It takes some time. This still is a new person. You're still admitting this out loud for the first time for yourself, let alone this stranger too.
Yeah.
So you got to take your time with it. And then, like I said, if it doesn't work out, just go to another one. Go to another one. I think I went through 3 before I found mine. Like you just go. I think in the one I had before, the most recent one, we were fine. I just felt like I hit like a plateau. And I wasn't being challenged enough and I needed a different, perspective. So I wanted to switch it up and, and you're capable of doing that. Like all of that is completely fine. And you also want to be able to get to a point where when you find your therapist and you're working with your therapist, you let them know what it is that you need from them. So with all my clients, I let them know, like, let me know if I need to push a little harder. I'm pushing too much. Like you tell me because this is for you. Like, so let me know, like back off a little bit, Britt. Like, cause sometimes I could be pushy and that's just, I just want the best. Like, and I be invested. That's that boundary that I'm working on. I be invested. Like, so I let them know, like,
I forgot to tell you.
Right. So I tell my clients, like, if I'm pushing too much, let me know. I'm gonna ease up, but I'm gonna stay on your eyes though, because we've made a goal and we want to work through it, and you're here for a reason. So let's do it together. So just interview them. Go through it. Again, there's sliding scales if your insurance doesn't pay for it. Even with the sliding scales, some therapists may give you like a bill for you to submit to your insurance on your own, where you could potentially get reimbursed as well. Okay. So there's options. So you just have to ask the questions when you talk to a therapist that you're interested in. How do you go about doing this?
That's awesome. So I know that you are, Brittany is in Connecticut. So I know that both of your practices are in Connecticut, but say, like for myself, if I was interested in coming to you or making my therapist, being that I live in Georgia, would I be able to do that?
So that is the only negative right now. So usually for a therapist, we have to get licensed in the state that we are providing the service for. But unfortunately for us right now, it's not like reciprocal across the states. So I would have to get licensed in Georgia to be able to provide the services in Georgia too. So it's real interesting.
Like health insurance reasons?
So insurance, like for example, like if we put out there Anthem insurance, Anthem in Connecticut is different from Anthem in Georgia. Like they're all, it's the same umbrella, but they're all different. And it's also just, I think, it's not a bad that they do it this way, but it's also making sure everyone's getting the proper care that they need, that if you have to follow up with any other providers and things, like your therapist there and is available. So, I've thought about branching out, because I've had a couple clients who've left Connecticut and like, yo, what are we going to do? And I'm like, we're going to figure this out. I mean, the beauty too is that, if I've started it and I'm going to continue it, is, with telehealth, there is a ways for me to provide therapy with telehealth, but it's without insurance. So that's more of like a cash-based service. And there's like a credential that I would have to get for that. But usually it's the therapist that you have to see has to be licensed in the state that, you are residing in. Hopefully at some point they'll be able to make things more reciprocal for us. But for now, that's kind of just how it works. So like for now, like it's easy for me I have my license in Connecticut, and I just applied to get the license in Massachusetts and New York as well, just because they're right there. It makes it simple. My mama wants me to get one in Florida, and I'm like, not there, but no, think about it. But yeah, so you come to some barriers there. But usually, like a couple of the clients that I've had that moved out of state, I helped them with the process of finding a therapist there. So we moved together, looked at profiles, saw how they felt about it. Like I called and I put the referral, asked some questions, and we kind of did that process together to find a good fit. So
sorry, y'all. Sorry if you're not in Connecticut.
I'm sorry.
Because y'all are over here. She just making, I'm like, can I, how does this work for me, sis?
Listen, my sister's in Atlanta. She like,
I was get with Taylor like a year and a half ago, and it just never happened.
It's all right.
We tried. It's all right, Taylor, if you're listening. One day we gonna, hopefully it's not us just randomly seeing each other like, oh, hey. I still be messaging her. You're not grown, so I don't know what you think you do.
She thinks she grown. I mean, I guess she is, I guess she is.
We're about to have a whole sidebar conversation. But Brittany, this has been so enlightening. Like, this was great. Especially because it's something I'm really passionate about. And I hope that everyone who is listening or watching, that you all were able to really get something from this. And hopefully it encouraged you all to go and seek therapy if you haven't already, because it's only going to make your life better. So where can the people find you, girl?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, which I don't like, but you can find me. You can find me there. Power of Choices. That is me there. That is, the business there. We're on Facebook as well. We also have our own website, so POCcounselor.com. Find me there. I honestly don't even remember my personal IG name. So
we're not going to give that out.
Yeah,
that's her safe space. That is her boundary. We just going to stick with Power of Choice.
I don't post nothing on there anyway, unless it has to do with the business. So, and that's crazy. Like, I don't even remember it. But Power of Choice is where you can find me.
Yes. Okay, well, this is great.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And Brittany is going to be joining us on What's Up Girl on Instagram Live. So make sure you remember your Instagram.
I got it. I will be good for that. I got you.
But yes, we're going to actually, I know we are pre-recording, but you all are going to be hearing this on Monday, the 20. I don't know what day it is yet, because it's like a week away. I'm not that far out yet.
I feel like it's like the 23rd or something like that. I don't know. Something like that.
Yes, it's the 23rd. So Monday the 23rd, which is the day that this is actually physically airing, we will be doing our What's Up Girl the same day. So make sure you guys come on there if you have any questions. It'll be a perfect time to engage and have a conversation. I don't know why I can't talk. Probably because I haven't eaten. I need to go eat.
Well, I mean, Gotta go do that.
Yes, girl. But yes, thank you so much. And yeah, that's it, girl.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I feel so rude just hanging up.
I'll text you.
Okay. Bye, thank you.